I also have Major General Mohammed Ali Shah joining us on the broadcast on this story. Son, of course, big developments. We are seeing Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Nowshera. He paid tribute to the fallen soldiers. He is going to meet with the army jawans. Now, tell us, sir, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the Prime Minister's tradition that he is keeping?
I think it's a wonderful tradition, and it really boosts the morale of the troops when they see the Prime Minister coming there. I'll tell you a small, quick 30-second story, a small anecdote. In the year 2003, before the ceasefire between India and Pakistan, I was posted in the line of control. And that time there was a Jawan. He was wounded very badly, very grievously, and I mean, there was no scope of his survival at all. Immediately, the news got around that the commanding officer is visiting him. So when the news got around that the commanding officer is here, this man who was shot sprung up and saluted him, and he said, "Jai Hind, Sahab!" So that was the morale. Imagine what the presence of the commanding officer did to his mental state of mind. Now, when the Prime Minister of the country lands up there in Nowshera, especially at the times when they are troubled times right now in Jammu Kashmir, it uplifts the morale of the soldiers in a big way. Like, for example, we have Armed Forces Special Power Act there in J&K, yes. It is also controversial. People make controversies out of that. Okay, fine. But then what about the human rights of the soldier? Nobody really actually talks about the human right of the soldier. Here, when the Prime Minister comes at this crucial stage and he gives a strong signal, a strong message that, boys, I am with you, the whole nation is with you. It sends a strong message across, and it also gives a message to our adversaries that, see, our Prime Minister is here, we have nothing to fear, and when we have leadership like that, what may? I mean, all one can do is, the good leader says, follow me, and the troops follow.
Right, so how significant is this visit, especially after, the several killings that have taken place in Jammu and Kashmir, not only civilian, but also a lot of army jawans who have lost their lives during the counter-terror operations. Now, how significant do you think this particular Diwali visit is as compared to the previous ones?
See, every year when the Prime Minister has set up this tradition, it's an amazing tradition, and it's a very good precedent that he's set. It is a it's very crucial, not only for the forces, not only for civilians, but also of Jammu Kashmir, but also for the entire nation. The whole nation looking up to the Prime Minister that, oh, he is going to Jammu Kashmir and he is there in solidarity. Now, of course, we don't expect the Prime Minister to take a gun and fight on the field, on the border. But of course, whatever he does, he is doing his bit. Of course, there are people who are going to find criticism in that, and there are people who will say, I think when a person does lead the way with a good way, it should be appreciated by all, including the critics. So it is very, very crucial, not just for the civilians, not just for the troops, but for the entire nation, and also the international community is also watching that, okay, the Prime Minister of India went to Kashmir at a time when so many killings took place. It was hot right now. And there have been selective killings in Jammu Kashmir. So certainly it is very, very crucial. And it gives a very strong message, as I said.
Right, sir. Now, of course, talking about the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir, like you said, there were, of course, several Jawans who lost their lives. Do you think the Prime Minister, in his address, will then talk about the security situation? He will then talk about, not only thanking the Jawans for their sacrifice, but also talking about, India's strong message to Pakistan and China?
Of course, very much. He will talk about that. And also one real serious issue that needs to be raised is in the the latest India Today, released just about 2 days back. There's a quote of mine also it's mentioned about there, about honey trapping, which is again a cyber security threat. That is a very, very serious issue. I mean, the espionage activities, the use of spies across the border, they use our troops, and anyone is very vulnerable to that, not just security physically on the border, but online security also. So the Prime Minister, I am very sure he's going to address all these issues, because it is a challenge which we are facing today. And, well, it happens from both sides. We also keep a hawk's eye on them. That's a different thing. And the best thing about us is we do our work silently. We spy on them silently if we have to. Their ISI's Chief General Faiz Ahmed goes to Kabul. And where's the External Affairs Minister? Shah Mahmood Qureshi should have gone. And the whole world knows of it, that the ISIS the top spy is there, is visiting Kabul. So there's a difference there. But at the same time, when you talk about security, yes, the Prime Minister is going to give out a very good message, and he's going to brief everyone on security as well, and especially what aspect we must, because security is something we have been talking and for many years and decades now. In fact, right from the inception of the army since then. But cyber security is something which we actually seriously have to look up into, and I'm certain the Prime Minister is going to leave no stone unturned in conveying that message to everyone, in fact.
Right. So thank you for joining us this morning and providing your insight on this story.